Dearly beloved, thank you for joining us today as we remember and mourn the life and the journey of the fish room. In this video, we're going to talk about the facts of what's actually going on. We're going to talk about some hypothetical, hopefully hopeful things that come forward, and we're going to tell you exactly what's the process moving forward as well. So buckle up. Might be emotional, might be fun. We'll see how we go. So the facts are, this current business model that we are running is not working. It is not financially viable. It is just not working. About a year ago, it was very obvious this wasn't working. Tried very hard to drop the overheads of what we could. Successfully dropped a lot of them, but it came down to sales, and we were not making, well, I'm not making enough sales for it to continue to be viable. So over the last 2 or 3 months, I've dug into the numbers, I've dug into the products we've got, and I've gone through all of that scenario. And the only clear option that we had was to close down this retail premise that we have right here, right now. It is a significant outgoing that is just beginning to be too much. Spoke to our landlord. Landlord is fine for us to do that. We've still got another 2 years on our lease. He is okay for us to get out of the tenancy as long as we can find somebody else to come in and take over it. Not ideal for us, but I totally understand where he's coming from his point of view. We've got 2 years left on the lease. It's a contract, it is what it is. So that's given us to the situation, will put us to the position that we're in right now. So those are all the facts, and that's the reason that we've come to the decision that we've come to. 2 years left on the lease that we have to be in this building for if we can't find someone to take over it. So moving forward, our next steps are all the tanks, predominantly all the tanks at the backs, all the racks, all that kind of stuff. We're going to sell them to try and empty that out. There is some of the big tanks that I'm going to move them home because I've got my own personal favourite fish, my frontosa and my carnalochus. They are my fish. I like them. I love them. They are my pets. So that's kind of a non-negotiable. For the business, however, we have 3 scenarios. Hypothetically, someone signs over the lease, we move out within a month's time. Great. My ideal situation is the retail premise is closed. We go back to a fully online only model for dry goods, plants, and frozen food only. Not for fish because I do not have the room, unfortunately. So all fish breeding, all fish is off the table. We completely keep online model with dry goods. We continue to do the social media side of things. We continue to be involved in the community. Continue to do the Fanatics Friday coffee date, which I absolutely love, and which is absolutely the one thing that is pulling me into this. Hopefully, I can make this work scenario. The number 2 scenario is we go to an online model. I work part time or full time. We continue to do the Fanatics Friday coffee dates because I absolutely love them, and we just try and service the hobby the best that we can with the limited time that I've got, doing dry goods and that kind of stuff. The last scenario, which is the one that I don't want to be happening, but it's potentially going to happen the more I look through the numbers, the business just completely dissolves altogether. I've got a couple of tanks of fish for myself, and then I go back to a normal full-time work, and the fish room itself is completely gone. That is the scenario that I don't want to happen. Ideally, the first scenario happens, but it all totally depends on the numbers that we're trying to work through at the moment. And at the moment, the numbers are not looking good for the ideal scenario. They're looking more likely towards the scenario I don't want to do, but it is what it is. So that's the current state of play. Other than the QT tanks out the back, all of them are going to be moved on. Next weekend, we've planned to get rid of the big tank to take that home to begin moving the frontosas and that sort of stuff. And I'm only going to keep the QT tanks for the time being because we're still kind of operating, and I still have to have some cash flow happening to continue to pay for things, if that kind of makes sense. So it's a bit of a delicate order, just trying to run minimal stock as possible. There'll come a time where potentially we just have to go bite the bullet, and that'll be it. So things at the back will begin getting listed and sold, lowering the stock that we've got to make that transition easier for moving, and in the meantime still running through all the numbers to see if we can hopefully go for ideal situation number 1. But reality is we might have to be on situation number 3. It is what it is. I've come to peace with that if that is the case. So for me right now, the biggest pressure and stress on this whole situation is getting rid of all of the wet pits. Storage for them from here, almost impossible. I can store dry stuff, no big deal. I can store frozen stuff, no big deal. But getting rid of the aquariums and the wet pits that go in and really lowering that down to just what's in the shop at a real low level, what could be coming through quarantine at a real low level, is ideal. So when someone says we want to move in a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, we can go sweet, we can pull it out and we go from there. So shop displays will be moving very soon. The big tanks out the back we're in the process of doing that, like I said, and then minimizing all those smaller tanks, the racks and stuff like that. So that's the next process forward. I hope this gives some clarity. I'm still a little bit uncertain, unclear on what's exactly going on, but I do know that this building, this retail premise will be gone, and we'll just allow the numbers to do what the numbers need to do for the next step. Yeah, if you've got any questions, please let me know. Any thoughts, please let me know. If I've missed something, please let me know. Yeah, there'll probably be a point where there's a whole bunch of stuff out the back. We'll just move forward, take it for $2 sort of scenario, like all the random power heads and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be dumped because I can't store that. There's no point of storing that. So that's where that's at. That process of clearing out this building is going to be beginning as of next week, and the racks, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope that helps you understand, helps me understand a little bit. Yeah, that's all I've got for you. Thank you very much.